So how are you? You are so welcome. I really do appreciate your time today. And look, I know it's the middle of the school holiday, so if you've got kids running about, they're very welcome to come in. I have banished mine to the room next door. So if you hear any loud crashes and me running, that's what that's about. The dog, he's been kicked out, as well. But my name's Sarah, and I'm going to run through today just some of my ideas on how you can get visible. And I'll be giving you 3 steps later on that I think everybody should be taking when it comes to their profile raising. There'll be a Q&A at the end. I'm doing spoilers and telling you what's on my next slide. There'll be a Q&A at the end, so note down your questions as we go. And obviously, if my sound drops in and out, just somebody shout at me, please. So I hear this an awful lot. Sorry, there's still people in the waiting room there. Right, so I hear this an awful lot, and it's just like I don't know where to start when it comes to raising my profile. And does that sound familiar to you? There are steps that you can take just to get started, obviously, but just to reduce that sort of sense of overwhelm that we all feel as a small business owner. So I'm hoping you're here today because you want to become more visible. And by visibility, I mean maybe on podcasts, on social media, in the media, and those are things that I've been working on for the last 25 years with a whole different range of businesses and clients. I'm going to run, well, like an hour. We should do this today. There will be a Q&A at the end. I'm going to give you some actionable steps you can take right now. And I am going to introduce you to my press program, which I'm really excited about. Like this is the launch today. You guys are the first to be hearing about it, and also having a wee sneak peek behind the scenes of some of the things that I've got going on there. So I will be doing that later on, but I do hope you will come away with some actionable steps you can take right now as well. So there's new people coming in. I hope you can hear me. If everybody keep their cameras off and muted until we come to the Q&A, that would be amazing. So you're in the right place if you don't know where to start when it comes to raising your profile or doing PR for your business, or maybe you're worried about what other people will think about about what you're doing, what you're saying, what your service is, all those things that go around in your head the whole time. Or maybe you're seeing other businesses out there and you think, oh, that should be me. I could do that. And I do that all the time. I'm just going to confess that right now. And then you have to think, oh, how am I going to achieve what I need to achieve? And also, if you want a tried and tested strategy, you're in the right place. I love a plan. I'll get that out there now. But certainly from the work I've done over the years, there's a process that you can follow to get that visibility that you absolutely need. Maybe you're feeling a wee bit invisible in your industry. I don't know what you all do yet, but I'm going to ask you in a wee minute. Maybe you're good at what you do. I know you're good at what you do, but nobody just seems to notice that. And as a small business owner, I probably guarantee that you're juggling all the things and you need some expert support. And I get that as well. Like I am running my business on my own, but I have a really good accountant because I am not good with numbers. I am not an accountant, so I have brought in expert help for that. And that's okay. You can bring in expert help for socials, for PR, for all the things that you might need. And if you want a simple strategic way to get you, your product, your business, your service noticed, you're in the right place today. Now, I have spoken with hundreds of people over the years, and here are the reasons why they are failing to raise their profile. Um, Big businesses come into this as well. I mean, you would be surprised, but they don't know where to start, so no action is taken at all. Or maybe people jump straight ahead to doing stuff like, oh, I need to send out a press release. Let's do some social posts. And it's just a real scattergun approach, so it doesn't really lead to much impact, which is really frustrating. If their comms approach isn't aligned to their business planning, like what's the point? Because you have goals as a business, and we need to consider what can communications do to support those goals. And also, if people lack a structured approach to raising their profile and getting visible, it's just not going to work. It's back to that scattergun approach. You're wasting time, effort, and money, and then you miss opportunities to get visible because you're not quite sure what you're supposed to be doing, and you feel like you're failing, but you're not. It's not because you're not good enough or you don't know your stuff or you don't know what you should be doing. It's because there's no plan or process to follow. So again, that's where I can help you with that. So, just very quickly, I have been doing PR for about 25 years now. I love it. I have worked in a whole different range of organisations, from political parties to charities, working with entrepreneurs. And in the last few years, I set up a PR training business because I want to help as many people as possible get visible and to learn how to do PR for their business. I've worked with a whole variety of clients. One of them is on the call at the minute, and she's one of my testimonials. I've worked with the Government of Bermuda Press Office. I've worked with the Climate Coalition. I've worked with many individuals as well. And I absolutely believe it is never too early to do PR for your business. And PR is about your reputation, it's about your credibility. There is more to it than just sending out a press release, although I love doing that as well. I love media work. And it's really just I just want to help as many people as possible improve their credibility, their reputation in the public domain. Oh, sorry, I'm just checking the chat. That's okay. Right. Now we're going to go back to chat now. I would just love to know very briefly, who are you? Because we've not met. Um, Drop it into the chat, please. Just tell me, what is it that you do? And is there something in particular you want to know about how to raise your profile? And I'll try and address that then as we go along, or we'll just save it for the Q&A afterwards. You are very welcome to share links to your businesses within the chat, maybe LinkedIn or Instagram. And again, we can start then to amplify each other. That is your first step to getting visible. And yeah, let me know as we go along. So if I could find the chat again. What have we got? I love this bit, by the way, because I have no idea who's coming in through the doors. So it's all, oh, that's spoiling my next slide. Let's have a look. So we have career coach, brilliant, love it. A property stager. What does that do, Annabelle? Do you like set houses up for like photos and stuff? I don't know. Tell me more, please. I need to know more about that. Equine scientist, the first liquid feed for horses called Equigel. When you talk about this, Sandra, we have horses coming out of our ears quite literally here. We breed race horses, and I have a Connemara and the girls of ponies as well. So we should talk about that. HR and leadership training consulting, brilliant. Oh, Belfast Hills Partnership. Elaine, how are you? You working with Suzanne? I was in Belfast. I was at Ligonel Dams the other week. It was brilliant. Media intelligence professional. Oh, Steph, how are you doing? Fellow independent impact winner. Yeah, so Steph and I went for afternoon tea in London, and we are both within the top 50 independent PR practitioners in the UK. So very proud of that. I should really put that in my introduction. Um, Manmate ecosystem platform for entrepreneurs to access market research, business planning, financial investment. Lovely. Love that. Market research, fundamentally important, as well as, when it comes to your communications approach, having data and insights is really important for that as well. So you actually have something tangible that you're going to talk about. Yep, stage homes, love that. Uh, Internal comms, employee engagement and organization. Oh, love that. Joe. Um, Occupational health. Emma, how are you? PR consultant and AI for PR training. Oh, I'd love to know more about AI for PR. That is becoming a very hot topic. So yeah, let's pick up on that. Confidence coach, Tuve, you're very, very welcome. Business advisor, bookkeeper. Hi, oh, Grania, how are you? In startup assist. Right, there's loads in there. Oh, Ellen, well, I'll not spoil what I'm going to say about her podcast. That's all there. Donna, you're in Australia. This is truly international today. I am loving this. Right, this is brilliant. So we've got leadership development. Love all that. Right, I'm going to nosy at this chat later on. Donna, you're from Northern Ireland, but are you in Australia? Inspiring Belfast. Love it. On a beach in Alicante. Love it. I was in Benidorm a number of weeks ago. Magic Pirates Resort. Happy. Oh, highly recommended. Right. Please connect up with each other, folks. Hopefully you've got my LinkedIn and what have you. I'll find you later on. And yeah, let's do that. Right. Loving it. A whole diverse range there. So let's see how I'm going to help you all raise your profile. So there's three things that I am going to cover today. So what's stopping you from becoming more visible? What's missing when it comes to your visibility? And again, I'm going to give you some actions you can take right now before I tell you all about press. So what's stopping you? Right, maybe actually you want to jot down some of your own thoughts before I get stuck into this. But you know, You're here for a reason. So have a think to yourself what's stopping you and just do any of these resonate? So I don't know where to start. I feel like that quite a lot when it comes to doing all the things in my small business. And you feel you get stuck at square one, or maybe you've got too many ideas but just no structure for them. So knowing where to start when it comes to PR and profile raising and visibility is fairly fundamental. Here's another good one. Who feels like you're making it up as you go along? Again, hear that quite a lot as well. So again, it's just a real scattergun approach, and then you don't get any real results. I mean, like even working as a comms professional, it's like, oh, I want this sent out to the press, and you sort of look at it and think that's just not going to fly, mate. And I can't do it in 2 days. It takes time to build up relationships. So if you feel like you're making up as you go along, you're not alone. Maybe taking action feels really overwhelming, and again, you're trying to do all the things. You've got to do social media and you might hate that. You've got to do PR. You've got to go out networking. You've got to go to events. You've got to do your accounts. You've got to actually do your products. You've got to deliver your services. You get into this big overwhelm cycle. I understand that. And I hear this quite a lot as well. And it's like, I don't want to look like I'm showing off. And, is it that fear of judgment or that kind of, well, who does she think she is talking about that? Who does she think she is? And again, it is a mindset issue that, I've had to overcome, my clients have had to overcome, and we can work through that. Here's another good one. Hands up well, I can't see your hands, but metaphorically speaking, hands up who feels sick at the thought of speaking on their social media or even speaking to a journalist. And again, I hear this quite a lot as well. There's a real apprehension about popping up a 30-second story on Instagram of speaking to camera. I hear, I don't like how I sound or look. Well, do you know what? I know you look fab and I like how you sound. And again, it's not really about you. It's about what your potential customer or client think about you and how you present yourself. So again, it is a real challenge for some people to do this. But again, with a bit of planning, with a bit of confidence, we can absolutely overcome that. And obviously, if you don't know any journalists, it's going to be difficult as well, but they're not that hard to track down. And certainly, I am happy to share contacts. I'm happy to share advice on that as well. You find a lot of them on LinkedIn, by the way, and there's a lot of them on Twitter stroke X. That was a bad rebrand, but still, I'll call it Twitter. That's another webinar. Um, I don't have time for all this. That's another common one as well, because again, we're trying to do all the things. The juggle is absolutely real. It's summer holidays, the kids are there, the dog needs walked, your business needs to be run. And you have that big long to-do list. I mean, I think I have about 27 things on my to-do list at the minute. I'm not even doing them. I'm doing all the other stuff that is distracting me from the main list. So again, it's all there. So the outcome of all of this is you end up maybe not taking any action at all, or it's really, really limited, which then means you don't get the profile or visibility that you need, which means nobody is going to know about you, or not enough people know about you. And you're going to lose sales to your customers because the bottom line is we need to sell stuff because we're in business. So if you hang out with me, you're going to learn how to, get clarity on where to put your efforts. We can't be doing all the things, and it's how just to refine that and focus where we can make the most efforts. I've got step-by-step guidance. Happy to share it all. Any tools or techniques that I've used over the years, I'll happily work with you through them. I can help you speak with clarity and confidence, and I can help you use PR with purpose. And by that, I mean being really focused on what it is that you want to achieve and using a communications approach just to make sure that you achieve that. And in terms of PR with a purpose, I can give you the formula to pitch to the press to increase your visibility. It's about learning what the press actually wants, and it's how to build your credibility, and it's in the long term. The press has a job to do. They're looking for stories on particular issues, particular things that are going on. And again, once you understand what they want, then you can start to engage with them to build your credibility. I can certainly help you decide what to post on social media without feeling sick. It's called the dry book. Anyone from Northern Ireland's going to understand that, but you're not going to be sick. It's going to be fine. It's those tried and tested approaches that other people have done that, I've seen other organizations do that I can then help you deliver. And there's no dancing required. There's no TikToks required unless you want to. And that is fine. Again, there's no judgment. That's fine. I think it's really important as well to build your confidence without burning out. Again, back to those tried and tested tools and really breaking it down and focusing on that one step at a time. So take that first step and then you take your next first step and then your next. And then all of a sudden you look back, you think, oh my goodness, look at my social posting. Look at all the engagement I've had. I've had that article in the paper. So again, reduce the overwhelm, take that step back and just really make PR work on your terms. And to help you with that, I have devised my press framework. I'll tell you about that later. And again, it's really just a structured approach to reduce the overwhelm and get results. Now, you could be sat there thinking, I'm not ready to do this. But I mean, really, it's never too early to do PR for your business. So we have the fabulous Ellen Finlay on the call at the minute, and she can drop in all the links to her podcast. But Ellen and I work together. This testimony is January 2024. That's ages ago, Ellen. We need another cup of tea to go and talk about all of this. But Ellen has a podcast called Policy 360, and it's fabulous. I mean, she engages with politicians, MLAs, MPs, MEPs, community leaders, community activists, and talks them through how they have made change in the world. So please go and check it out. But Ellen and I talked through how she was going to promote her podcast, and we went through a step by step approach as to how she was going to do that. She wrote the plan, we wrote the plan for promotion. It was written, it's been instigated, and our podcast is going from strength to strength. So please check out Ellen. Drop a wee link in the chat there, and everybody should go and listen to that. Oh, by the way, my fellow PR people on the call, if you listen to Ellen's podcast, you will get CIPR points for doing that. So that's your little bonus for today. So my point of all this is that you're more ready than you think. Please ignore the typo in that slide. You're more ready than you think to start doing PR for your business. Now, I hear this a lot as well. I've tried PR before and it didn't work. Well, what have you actually tried? Have you just sort of done a couple of social posts and you haven't gone viral? Gone viral is not the answer here, folks. By the way, I did go viral one day for a really random video. Did absolutely nothing from a profile. Anyway, that's not a conversation. Or have you just sent out a press release and nobody's picked it up and you thought, oh, that just doesn't work? Again, this is a testimony from Naomi, who I worked with. She is a VA. You'll find her on LinkedIn. Absolutely superb. Please go and check her out. But she had a business that she wanted to celebrate and she needed to get a story into the press. So I provided her with my how to write a press release training. And she went through that step by step approach and she got the coverage that she deserved. I mean, it was brilliant. And I asked her to send me the press release that she wrote just so I could just make sure it was okay. And like, it was brilliant. I didn't have to edit anything and I love editing stuff, but it was superb. So again, she's going from strength to strength. But again, she went through that step by step approach, reduced the overwhelm, had the tools to deliver it, got the coverage she deserved. And again, if you've done it before, oh, it hasn't really worked. Well, it's not you. It is the method or the process that you're not using to get the visibility that you want. Right. We pause for a cup of tea. This is what we're going to talk about now. Time is going okay. We're going to talk about planning, clarity of what you're saying, and a wee bit of confidence. So if you have no plan in place, fail to plan to fail. I love a plan. It has to be written down. A plan on a page, not War and Peace, but again, that plan aligned to your business goals. But if you don't have that structure, no one is going to know about you. Your competitors are going to be better known than you, and we don't want that. We want you to be front and center in your industry as the thought leader, as the expert. And you can do all that through planning. And the plan really helps build those foundations for what you're going to do in the future. And the next part of the process then is getting clarity on what it is that you want to say. So if you're not clear on what you're saying, no one's going to hear you. And by hear you, I mean like cutting through the noise. Think about when you're scrolling on socials. Think about all those emails. A lot of them from me this week, but coming into your inbox, you need to be really clear and precise in what you're saying, or just nobody's going to read it. They're going to skip by and move on to the next thing. It won't be clear what you do and what value you can give to people. And then your customers won't get to know about you. And obviously, we want your customers to hear about you. And maybe then you just sort of lack that confidence to take action. What will people say? I'm not good enough. If you don't talk about you and how good you are, then who's going to? Nobody else is going to come and do it. But What I absolutely 100% recommend is you start with the plan, break it all down, and then when you get that step by step by step approach, you reduce that overwhelm and you think, yeah, I can do this. I can take that next step. I can do this thing on social. I can write this press release. And it all then starts to come together. So, why am I telling you all this? Well, I just want to help you succeed. Again, I've been working in jobs, 9 to 5 jobs, for the last 20 plus years, and they were great, and I loved them. And I have run campaigns, I've won awards, I've brought in legislation through campaign. I've done it all, and I love it. But now I have an opportunity to help even more people with the skills and knowledge that I need to raise their profile. But again, it's about helping you succeed in what it is that you do. So again, have you ever thought, what if I mess up? What if no one wants to hear what I say? What if people laugh at me? Who's going to laugh? I'll send them to me. I'll sort them out for you. What if people think I'm showing off? What if, what if, what if? And these are all the little what ifs that go through your head. And I get them as well sometimes about, what if I can't do this? What if it all goes wrong? What's going to go wrong when you write a press release? They're going to pick it up or they're not going to pick it up. I can help you get on the side of picking it up. So that's it. So maybe jot down a few of your own what ifs. What's sort of standing in your way of trying to get a bit more visibility. And don't forget your visibility is linked to your credibility. Now, if you're a bit dodgy, like think Jared Ratner back in the day, like no amount of PR is going to polish a shoddy reputation. So again, don't worry about that. You're the expert in what you do. What if we work together, to get that plan in place, to get really clear on what you're saying and to take action? And how do we turn those what ifs around? What if you actually succeeded? What if someone needed to hear what you have to say? What if if there was we've got Equigel there. So what if somebody had a horse with a particular issue and they tried your gel and it worked? Wouldn't that be brilliant? And what if they found that from an article in Horse and Hound? Wouldn't that just be absolutely epic? So somebody needs to hear what you have to say. So what if you took that action to raise your profile? What if you inspired someone to take action to get that career coaching done, to apply for that, startup fund, all these things that you could be doing to help people. What if? What if? Write down your own positive what ifs. Again, I've worked with other people, and again, just to showcase a few of the people that I've worked with. So again, these are all my LinkedIn, by the way. So please go and have a look through those. So Jenny was absolutely brilliant, and again, we worked together just to discuss how she was going to start to raise her profile. She was really just starting out. So we just worked through what are you trying to achieve, what are you trying to say and who you're trying to say it to. There's just those basics. And again, we reduced the overwhelm. She was able then to start to raise her profile. She's fabulous. This is another lady I worked with one to one and again coached her through some ways of building her profile and working on some of her CIPR diploma aspects that she was struggling with. And again, this final one, oh yeah, this is all about planning. This came from my colleague Nuala. I've worked with her a number of times. And again, it's all about the plan. She comes on with these ideas and I say, well, let's write a plan. And we get it written down. We get a bit of focus on it and then we're absolutely flying. Right. Going to bring it all together now. Going to give you 3 steps that you can do. And you know what? I think you should be a show off. Maybe I'll change the title of the talk for the next time. We all need to get up and show off what it is that we do. So we need to solve all these things, which is, where to start, so, oh my God, I have so much things to do. I don't have time. We need to solve all of that. So step 1 to solving this, so write this down, is plan your visibility goal. So set one clear goal for visibility. And the important thing to do is align it to your business goals. So you have your business and you know what you want to achieve, say in the next quarter, the next 6 months, the next year, maybe the next 5 years. Say you want to position yourself as a leading career coach in Lincolnshire, wherever it happens to be, the world. That's fine. Then you need to just start to think of how can a PR and communications approach align to that. And within that, I'm incorporating your social media approaches, networking, events, the whole kind of thing, because we need to integrate everything together. What can PR do for that? And then set that SMART objective for your visibility goal. So it could be, I want to write a press release and pitch it to my local media ahead of my business launch, or you've won an award, which is really important within your industry. I did one for the Impact 50 one. It got picked up by the press here locally. Um, so you want to write a press release about an award because that links to you raising your profile, which links to you getting more clients, which links to your particular business goal. Does that make sense? I hope so. Ask me in the Q&A if it doesn't. Or maybe you have a product or a service that you want to pitch. Say it's, oh, I'm going to talk about Christmas. Already done a LinkedIn post on this week. It's Christmas. It's not Christmas, it's the middle of August. But if you have something that is applicable to the Christmas market, you need to get that out now to magazines because they work so far in advance. So again, is that aligning to your business? How am I going to do it? Go and ask for the forward features list. So get that plan in place. You know, it's easy for me to say to do it, but it really is as simple as that. So look at your business plan. How can communications and PR help with your visibility, linked to what you want to achieve? Find out a way to do that. So engaging with journalists. So we've done plan, now we're on to engage. Um, before you even get to the journalist bit, I want you to think about your target audience. So who's your ideal customer? Who are you trying to speak to? So is it politicians for a campaign? Is it 35 to 45-year-olds who ride horses? Is it 25 to 65-year-old women who are trying to do careers? Whatever it is, you tell me who your audience is. And then you need to think about, well, what are they listening to? Are they all listening to Ellen's podcast, for example? In which case, you need to talk to Ellen about getting a slot in her podcast. Are they all reading Horse and Hound? In which case, you need to start researching journalists who write for Horse and Hound and start to pitch towards them. Or maybe you need to be targeting the business news within your local area. Maybe it's a local BBC radio station and maybe a local talk program or something like that. So start to research relevant journalists in those media outlets. Again, go on to the websites. Their names will be listed there. They're on social media. You can find them there and just reach out and engage with them. Send them a connection request. Start to follow them. Maybe engage with their content, not in a stalkerish way, but again, start to understand what they write about, what they're interested in. If you have a story about dog food, I'm doing a dog food trial in a minute. Story about dog food, don't be pitching to the climate journalists at The Guardian. Things like that. It sounds really simple, but again, you need to be very tailored and focused when you're engaging with journalists. So connect with them, engagement, send them a relevant pitch on a subject that they're going to be interested in, and you know that because you've researched them. So again, you have an audience that you want to reach. The journalists are also part of your audience, and you need to think about what their audiences are interested in as well. So back to the equestrian supplement example. You know there's people out there who want it, and you learn what magazines they're reading, and you learn what podcasts they're listening to, and you pitch those journalists, those podcast hosts on your particular product or service because you know they're going to be interested in it. Again, just crack on and do it. Don't overthink this. Do you know what is the worst that they're going to say? They're not going to say anything because they might want to read your email. I can help you with that. But again, the worst they're going to say is no. The best they're going to say is yes, tell me more, and then you'll be flying. The final thing today that I want you to think about is about telling your story. So another really actionable thing that you can do today is just to have a think about what inspires you. Who have you helped? Do you know how many horses have you helped with your equi product? How many candidates have you helped secure jobs? How many millions of pounds of business investment funding have you helped people secure? Those all then start to add up your story. Why have you started your business? I love hearing that. Why have you started your business? Who's inspired you? Are you doing it for your children? Are you doing it for another reason at all? Your story is what makes you extraordinary, and your audience is waiting to hear about it. And it's back to that old adage, social media is about social. I can put up all the posts I want about PR tips. I might get a couple of hundred views. Put up something like a really silly poll or a really silly story about me out walking the dog, and people connect with that. They start to engage with it. So again, it's about telling your story in your own terms with your own boundaries in place, but are really connecting with your audience just then so they know who you are, they start to like you, and they start to trust you. And again, you just crack on and do it. So if you have any questions on any of those things, make a note of them for the Q&A. Just checking the time. We're doing okay. So, because I wanted to, the Q&A is the bit I love, by the way, because yeah, it's just so good to hear more about what it is you're trying to achieve and how you can help, and with other PR colleagues on the call as well, and they can all jump in as well. Right. So, in terms of the sort of planning, storytelling, engaging process, that's the basic process that I have been using for years. Now, don't tell anybody that, but PR, it is quite straightforward what to do. So, in terms of an example, I'm going to mention Horse and Hound again in a minute, it's brilliant. I worked for the Climate Coalition recently for Great Big Green Week, and the goal was to make Great Big Green Week mainstream. So, Great Big Green Week is a week in June where thousands of groups and people from across the country get together to take action for nature and climate. That's the best way to describe it. So we had 1 million people swapping together for good for a week in June just passed. And as the comms manager, the comms lead, I had to get this into mainstream media. So it came out with the climate bubble, if you like. It's to how I make it more talked about. So it's how to drive people to the events as well as, build on this for the future, because we all need to be taking action for nature and climate. So to do this, I identified who our target audience was. We learned really well about, sorry, did I disappear there? My screen just went blank. I'm back now. We identified the target audience. We identified our messaging. Obviously, I had a plan because I need to structure things. Identified the appropriate journalists. I engaged with them and I pitched to them. So that is exactly the kind of stuff that I teach my clients to do. And I told the story of those people taking part. And it was just one of the best things I did was to get on calls like this with the people taking part and just ask them why they're doing it. And then I could then go to the media with these stories and we could then start to create the story around that. Exceeded all expectations. There's me with my horse and hound. We had a reach in excess of 60.7 million. I say in excess because I didn't know what the reach was on TV. That didn't come through in my media monitoring. There was 510 news articles in total. Now, some of those were generated by the local groups themselves, but again, I was helping provide the tools and templates for that. I did a lot of localized media work as well, and also some national media work too. So we had a slot in Women's Weekly. I pitched to the editor of that through LinkedIn. I mean, it was as simple as that. So I'm doing what I'm telling you to do. I did a letter to the editor for Horse and Hound. There were a lot of Hugh Grant jokes going around, I have to say, if you know, you know. And we had a slot in Waitrose Weekend magazine. Now, I don't have Waitrose over here. I'm very quite deprived. So I had to get my friend to go into Waitrose and get me a couple of copies. And I met her at a conference in Newcastle and she was able to present me with my magazines. It was brilliant. There was 14 ITV segments as well. And again, I had to connect up localized stories with the ITV team for that, and with 32 radio broadcasts. So it was quite a busy 6 months, I have to say. So we're now planning for next year. It's absolutely brilliant. If you want to talk to me about all things sustainability after the call, you drop me a wee note. We integrated social media into this as well. It's a wee bit small, but basically through the LinkedIn business page, things went up by the impressions went up by 42%, reactions up by 85%. And that was just by taking a consistent step-by-step approach. And it was the same on Instagram. We increased views by 483%, and also on Facebook as well. That was a reach of 700, and the increased reach was 784%. So that was quite big. And again, through a structured approach, by making sure everything was tied in together, the messaging was clear, and what we knew where our target audience actually was. So these are the actions that are key to raising your profile, and they're part of my press program. So this is a bit I'm really excited about. So bear with me for a few minutes. I'm going to tell you about this, and then we're going to do our Q&A. But this has been in my head, I am not joking you, for years. And it's taken me a good couple of years to get it sort of refined and finalised and into a way that I can now deliver for you. And to be very simple, press is a pathway for you to follow to raise your profile. It's about planning, reaching, engaging, telling your story, and really shining. That's doing all the fun stuff. And I've developed a success path for this as well. So step one is the plan. It's about setting your PR goals and creating your visibility roadmap. We've talked about planning already today. That's one of the actions that you can take. The next step then is the reach. It's about understanding your audiences and how to connect with them. And that includes journalists, includes your own target audiences. Again, so many tools around that. to share with you. Step three is about engaging. It's about building relationships with the media, with your followers, with your potential clients, with your potential investors, whoever it happens to be. And step number four then is story. And it's about mastering your messaging and telling your story across whatever channel you're choosing to use to reach your target audience. So you don't have to be on every single social channel. You don't have to be in every publication. We can refine all that and link it directly back to your target audience. And step five, shining, stepping into the spotlight. And yes, we've talked about how you can feel a wee bit queasy maybe when it comes to doing that. But if you've done steps 1 to 4, step five's easy because you've got all your planning done, all the foundations are in place. And that's when you come to do, the media work, the social media, going on the podcast, whatever it happens, networking, speaking at events. It's all there for the taking. But you've done your homework, you've done your foundations. That bit becomes a whole lot easier. So if you're feeling any of these, we've talked about this already, so where do I start? I'm overwhelmed, I'm feeling a bit sick. All of that, press is perfect for you to get that plan in place, get really clear on what you're saying, and take some action. And it is that step-by-step working with me approach. It's group training, and it's going to give you the confidence to get the visibility and profile that you deserve. And what's in it for you? I ask myself, I always say, what's in it for me? I say that all the time. But for you, it's a clear visibility roadmap, pitch ready PR assets, like anything I have, it's part of this program. If you need something, I will get it for you. It's getting confidence in your messaging. Opportunities will start to come to you. Connecting within a supportive community. I'm going to show you the portal in a wee minute, but there's a bespoke private hub for everybody to connect in. Again, time-saving templates and tools. Like I have all the templates you could ever want of how to write press releases, of how to structure speeches, of how to prep for journalist interview, whatever it happens to be. I have those tools and templates, and it's just really about helping you get a really sustainable way to stay visible. So it's a real bespoke program. Like I said, this has been in my head for years. I'm talking to quite a lot of different people about it, and we've been tailoring it and tweaking it. But really, what I want to then offer through this are regular masterclasses and Q&A with various PR industry insights. So I'm thinking like a weekly masterclass and Q&A. I'm thinking of bringing in, well, I will be bringing in some experts to speak about different aspects, say, of social media, bringing in journalists to talk. Again, I can give feedback on your pitches and messaging. We've got the 5-stage structured press framework to follow, plan, engage, reach, story, and shine. All those templates, checklists, and guides. Coaching calls will be set up, and media and social media masterclasses. So quite a lot in that. And I'm going to tell you the price now. Eventually, this will be £250 a month, but this is my founder member launch. You're the first people to actually hear about this, and I'm very, very excited. So I have put the founder member launch price at £49 per month. There is a 12-month commitment because you can't get PR within 2 minutes. You can't come to me now and say, Sarah, I want to be in the papers next Thursday. Well, that's nice. It's about how we do this sustainably for the long term, aligned to your business goals, and put in those foundations so that you can keep going time and time again. And I will work with you to plan your PR. I will work with you to reach your audience. I will work with you so that you can engage with them and build relationships with them, and to tell your story. How to tell your story across all the channels. I did a really good storytelling lunch and learn recently to NIPSA. I mean, that's just fascinating of how you can structure what it is you want to say. So again, I'll be delivering all that. And again, help you get the recognition that you absolutely deserve. So that is the details. If you want to go and have a wee look at the sales page right now, if you want to click on that QR code, and I will eventually, when I get off the screen, I will drop it into the chat as well, the link. And just to break it down a wee bit further, it's £49 per month. That's 1.62 per day, right? What are you going to get these days for 1.62? I just bought a packet of crisps. It was nearly £2, for heaven's sake. That's less than your daily cup of coffee. In fact, yeah, you wouldn't even get a mouthful of coffee out of 160. I drink tea, by the way, so a cup of tea is very expensive as well. But just to put that into a wee bit of perspective, it's 1.62 per day to help you raise your profile and get access to me as the PR expert and my entire network as well. I have seen out there 6-week PR courses for £2,000. I've toyed with the idea of those, but I don't like the idea of doing a 6-week program and then leaving you to it. or then starting to charge you more money to do something else. I want to get something sustainable in place that works for you and with you. If you wanted an agency to write a press release, I've seen agencies want to charge £650 for this. Maybe my press colleagues on the call can give me an insight to this as well, but that doesn't include sending it. So that's an awful lot of money just for a press release. And I know I was working with an agency recently and they were charging up to £175 an hour for PR support. I don't know about you, my pockets do not run that deep. So PR community is on a bespoke hub. So it's hub.theprclub.co.uk. And obviously you'll get all your own login details for this. But this is just a wee behind the scenes peek at it. Everything you're going to need is going to be on this one place. It's not a Facebook group. It's built on membership.io if you're aware of that. But within this, we have some introductions, there's videos, there's downloads, there's an initial challenge to get everybody started so you can really get going on raising your profile. And there'll be easy access to the weekly calls that we're going to be having. There's a discussion forum as well. So obviously sharing your wins is really important to me. So yeah, we'll be doing regular win sharing. It could be the kids have gone back to school, or it could be you've just landed PR coverage in a magazine. I don't care what the win is. They're all really important. And again, just ways to ask questions and interact with the community. It's all going to be there. For the first 10 people to join between now and 12 noon on Tuesday, I am going to offer a one-to-one with me. So basically 60-minute strategy session. It'll probably run longer than 60 minutes because I like talking to people and I want to make sure you get a really good 90-day PR roadmap set up. So we'll work together to get your personal 90-day PR plan together. So you'll walk away with, a clear action plan tailored to your goals, priority visibility opportunities focus on first, and just really fast track your press success. So say that'll be between now and Tuesday the 19th of August. So if you're ready to raise your profile, again, press is that structured process for you to follow. All the advice and guidance from myself as a PR expert of 25 years, helping you every step of the way. And again, I will be bringing in expert speakers, guest speakers, you name it, whatever you need to succeed. All the tools and templates will be there, and you'll have access to the private members hub as well for less than the price of a daily cup of coffee. So that's where we're at with that. I'll leave that for a wee second. What's next? Oh yes, we're going into the Q&A next. So let me get a wee sip of tea and then I'm going to go and look at the chat and see what's there.